Hello, and welcome to my channel. Hey everyone, welcome back to Andrew's Wizardly Reads. And as always, I'm Andrew, and today I am here to recommend urban fantasy to you. Specifically, I've got 5 that I'd like you to try if you haven't already. Over the last couple years, I've had the opportunity to read a lot of urban fantasy, and I figured I'd pass on what I learned to you. So, starting off with number 1, we have got Iron Druid by Kevin Hearn. It is a very, very, very interesting series. Specifically, it follows a druid. Your protagonist, Atticus, is 2,000 years old and runs a occult bookstore in Tempe, Arizona. If that sounds a little weird, it is, but it's all explained. Atticus is 2,000 years old and is currently in hiding for stealing a sword from the gods. And they are trying to find him, and he does not want to be found. One of the best selling points on this series is the animal companion, though. Atticus has a dog that he can communicate with via almost a sort of telepathy. The dog's name is Oberon, and he is side-splitting funny. Now, I haven't personally finished this series. I do eventually plan to get around to the last 2 books. It sits at, I believe, 9 books as of now. It's got a couple spin-off novellas, and I believe Kevin Hearn has started a spin-off series set in the world of the Iron Druid. So definitely give that a look. It is very close to the Dresden Files, which is coming in at number 2. The only reason I say number 2 is I personally have read a lot of Dresden Files and feel just a little bit of burnout. So I'm going to bring him down just 1 notch. Honestly, we all know once the next book comes out, he's going to go straight back to number 1. But for right now, I'm feeling a little burnt out. Don't judge me. I can see you doing it. But it's fine. Anyway. Dresden is a small town. He's a small-time wizard PI at the start of the series. At this point, it is a behemoth of a series, though. It is 17 books long, with 2 short story collections and a bunch of I believe 6 microfictions over on Jim Butcher's website. Honestly, the series is just magical. No pun intended. Dresden he does his best. For a protagonist who gets constantly beat down, Dresden always pulls himself back up. The series has got some of the highest highs and some of the lowest lows. You will hear everybody say that once you hit book 9, it is just, I feel it right here. But it all starts with just book 1, where Harry is a young man who performed magic in a illicit manner. And the council of the White Council of Wizards is watching him to make sure he doesn't do it again. He is essentially on wizard probation. But if you fail wizard probation, you lose your head. And that's kind of where the series starts off. He is a consulting wizard detective for the Chicago PD. And if you need more than that, then you're just gonna have to read and find out. Number 3. We have got Monster Hunter International with Grim Noir Chronicles. They are both by Mr. Larry Correia. And Monster Hunter International is a very macho, very, very man's man urban fantasy. It is just dripping with testosterone and adrenaline. The author is very big into his guns. And that shows because his characters are also very big into their guns. But what is this series about? The story starts off where monsters are real. You can't have a series called Monster Hunter International if you can't hunt your monsters. So the monsters are real, but the people don't know. But of course the government does. And the government has empowered private monster hunting firms to hunt these monsters for bounties called PUFF, which is an acronym that I don't really quite remember. But the PUFF can be a big kahuna lots of money. I believe for a big enough monster, they pay in the millions. And for the low monsters, it's like $50,000. So the people who survive these encounters and kill a monster on their own are often recruited into these private firms. And our protagonist, Owen, does just that. He is an accountant who was working late one day, and his boss had been turned into a werewolf and tried to eat him. And Owen, of course, came out on top and was recruited by Monster Hunter International to go and kill monsters. So that's what he did. Coming in at number... sorry. Let's backtrack to Grim Noir Chronicles. I almost forgot. Whew. Again. Grim Noir Chronicles is a trilogy set in a almost alternate reality. No, I believe it's an alternate history, I believe is the correct terminology. Urban fantasy. Set in, I believe, the 1930s. And it is just... It's such a fascinating series. Because people either have, like, expanded intellect, or they can, like, teleport. There are people who can siphon magic off from other people. It has a feel of a very noir style urban fantasy. And right now, that's really all I can sell you on it. It is a noir urban fantasy set in the 1930s alternate history. It is easily one of my favorites. But that said, now we're going to move on to number 4, which is the Ilona Andrews Kate Daniels series. Now, if you look at the covers for the Ilona Andrews Kate Daniels series, they look like romance novels. It's because that's how they're marketed. The author has gone on record to say romance sells better. They went on and said it sells about 30% better. So they decided to sell them as romance novels. They are very, I would say, romance light. There are a couple chapters that get a little hot and heavy. You know, you've got to be able to justify it being a romance novel. But ultimately, they are just good urban fantasy. We start off with Kate, who is a mercenary in hiding. Essentially, she's got a secret that she doesn't want anybody to find out, but she's still got to survive, so she is a mercenary in Atlanta in a world where back in the Middle Ages, magic left the world, and now it's coming back, but it's not coming back all at once. It comes back in waves. And whenever a wave hits, if you're using technology, it stops working during the magic time. If you're using magic during the technology time, it stops working. And this puts Kate in some very interesting situations. And coming in at number 5, sorry, I had to take a look because I forgot what number 5 was. It is the Alex Verus series. Alex Verus is it's a very gray, morally gray urban fantasy with a lot of politics. Usually you've got your defined good and you've got your defined bad. Here we've got the white wizards and the black wizards, or I believe here they're called mages. And the only really difference is anarchy and follows the rules. That's about it. They're not good people. Alex used to be a dark mage's apprentice. And then the way they become apprentices is sometimes through kidnapping, slavery. It is a... You do not want to be a dark apprentice unless you are a very bad person. And if you're not a bad person, they're going to try and make you a bad person. So Alex escaped and tried to become a white mage, and they didn't really want him either because he was corrupted because he was with the dark mages. And so he just runs a magic shop in London and kind of just wants to be left alone to do his thing, but that's not how this world works. The mages are the powerful ones, and the adepts are kind of stamped down and used and abused. Alex is a mage. He is a time mage. Basically, he can see in the future. He can see the branches of the future. And that's really his one skill, but he can use it with great versatility. The adepts are really just one-trick ponies. They can only do one thing versus the mages who can do a wide variety of things or have a versatile skill like Verus. But Verus is very weak compared to all the people he has to go up against to kind of stay his own man and stay on the outside. And so he's got to constantly either outthink or outmaneuver or set people against each other in order to survive. And it is a very good series. So thank you very much, guys, for watching. Go ahead and like and subscribe. Leave me a comment down below to discuss what urban fantasy that you love and if you have any recommendations for me. As always, stay magical, and I'll talk to you later. Peace out. Bye.